Hey guys, I had the bearded paddler and his wife Christina on the Kayak Fishing Obsessed live show, and we talked about the best and worst kayaks ever made. Let's hop in.
Let's start with the best. What's a kayak out there that, man, it's flying off the shelves for you, and you just love it for a variety of reasons.
And again, like you said, and you kind of touched on there, is it's personal opinion with me. It's what I see. Doesn't mean that people don't enjoy the kayaks that I don't like, but to me, and I wouldn't consider them the best, but they're there, is New Canoe. And to me, New Canoe has built almost a cult-like following with their customer service. And that's something you see online, whether it be Facebook or YouTube comments or anything. People always are talking about the customer service part of it. And I won't go too deep into this, but when you're talking about customer service, and actually Chad did a video on this where he talked about, if you got a Ford or a Chevy, you're not going to Detroit for your warranty and your issues, you're going to your dealer. And usually when somebody asks, they got a problem or they just bought a kayak and something's coming off of it or loose, go to your dealer. And that's the first thing I always say, go to your dealer, let them earn your business, let them earn the right to sell you your next kayak. And to me, I mean, it's such an easy thing to service a customer and to take care of them. A lot of these companies, it's easier to get parts now than it was 2 or 3 years ago.
Sure.
Not in every single instance, but if your 360 drive and your Hobie goes out, we've been able to get them pretty quickly now, as opposed to COVID. It's 5 or 6 weeks, and by that time, if your drive went out or you had some kind of malfunction, you're pretty much kissing that tournament season goodbye. But brutal. Still, the dealer is the one going to take care of you. And again, I'm just talking about the stores that I work at. We have warranty boats that we cut up. We take the parts and the pieces off. And if somebody comes in and said, hey, this part broke, if I've got one of those from those warranty boats, we're going to hand that to the customer.
Sure.
Those aren't inventoried items. Those aren't parts that we paid money for, but that's what you get. And, when you're buying it online or, the online shipping, who's going to take care of you? Especially, and again, I'm talking about premium kayaks. I'm talking about premium kayaks at a premium cost. You don't want to get budget service because that is really going to put a bad taste in your mouth. And it's usually going to be the manufacturer when they had nothing to do with it. It's usually that dealer there.
Yeah. So New Canoe. New Canoe specific. Let's talk specifics within New Canoe.
Yeah, specifically the Unlimited. The Unlimited has been around for I believe it was 21, I think, that they came out with it. And that thing has been by far our best seller. We run out of them. We can't order enough of them. And I've done more, and I think it was the first kayak that people really thought that they can do anything to. So you can put the bow mount motor on it. You can put the stern mount motor on it. You got a swivel, you got the Millennium 360 swivel chair. You got the ability to run a tandem on it. You can add a pedal drive to it. So, and those things, none of those things are cheap, but it allows you to build things incrementally. You don't have to buy a special hull to have a pedal drive. And I always tell people, when you buy that kayak, by the time your budget is ready to do a pedal drive, your needs may have changed. You may want to go motorized, and that allows you the freedom to do that.
Right.
Without, you're not buying anything you don't need, put it that way. And one thing that a lot of people don't know about, and I know I'm kind of going off topic there, but
no, you're just going deep. That's fine. Peel back the onion.
With Native, with the Titan X, you can actually, a lot of dealers, and we're one of them, you can actually buy a Titan X without the pedal drive.
Okay.
Native will work with us on sending us our next one without a pedal drive. We can transfer that over, and allows you, if you're going to motorize it and you like that platform, you can go the Titan X. If you want something from that same company, you can go the PWR. So there's a lot of moving and shaking in the motorized part of it.
Okay, I like that. So you got the Unlimited. I know my knucklehead teammate Tammy Sanchez runs a Unlimited. I know she loves it. She got that thing tricked out. So does really well. So specifically, when people get that kayak, I've heard nothing. I don't think I've ever heard a bad review on New Canoe. Everybody seems to love it when they get in it. So two things. What is it that they typically love? Now, obviously, people like it for its stability. You really like the company in general, and so peel back another layer of the onion when it comes to customer service. What's so great about it? Is it that they just have a great warranty, or they pick up the phone, or what is it?
They do something very unique. Well, they will do they'll do free parts for life.
Okay.
And now, when I say free parts, that's the fittings and the knobs and the track and things like that. But I owned a because I'm a consumer too. I bought a Frontier 12. That was my first what I call true fishing kayak, and the side handles broke off.
Okay.
Well, I went on their website, and you register with their website with the whole ID number, and I went on there. I ordered just a pair of them, and it cost me like $1.20. I just paid the shipping for postal service.
Right.
And there was no questions asked. There was no like questionnaire or form I had to fill out or anything like that. And it was just easy. And when I have that experience, that makes it easier for me to talk about that experience with people. Is, you know, they're a U.S. company, they're designed, they tend to listen to their pro staff, and their pro staff tends to give them a lot of feedback. So unfortunately, that's kind of unique. There's companies out there that I feel like don't listen to the outside or their dealers. And, there's a couple specifically that kind of surround themselves with yes men, and, that's going to hurt them. But, New Canoe, and I've had Blake on the live stream on our channel, Saturday night, 7:30. And
shameless plug, love it.
But we had Blake. Blake was actually our first guest.
All right.
And it was interesting to hear him talk about, they've designed a couple of kayaks that have really kind of stood the test of time, but talking about the moving goalpost of the industry, having the catchboard holders, which is a big thing now. Well, now that Yak Attack's come out with the leaderboard is actually longer and wider. So it can really
moving target. Get that.
A lot of these kayaks that have holders and places built into it, they're for those catchboards at 26.
Yeah.
And now I think the leaderboard is 28, I believe. It's wider. There's some really nice features about it, but now these kayak manufacturers are going to have to figure out a way, because Yak Attack's not going anywhere for sure. And better storage on there.
Yeah. I got a bunch of comments here. Oh, go ahead, Christina.
I'm going to add in with the leaderboard. One thing that he's forgetting is that Yak Attack actually did create a holder for it to go on the Black Pack Pro. So Yak Attack's kind of got that covered for now.
But it's something else you got to buy too. So
100%. Interesting.
But when you've got, I'm getting ready to do a video on the leaderboard versus the catchboard and what I like about both of them. When maybe some things I don't like, but the biggest thing with me is when I see people, and I'm talking about people catching those tanks, they've got this big old fat fish they're trying to stick on this little board, and it's just spilling over the sides.
Yeah, I have that problem like every day. I understand.
We all
do. Everybody in the comment section, like, yep.
I don't have as much of those problems as you knuckleheads out there, but I'm trying to get into there. But man, having a wider board, and it kind of got a little bit of a deeper trough in it to hold that fish a little better, I do like that. So the tourney tags are built into the board, so it's not a $30 part you got to buy. It's added on to it. So there's a lot of stuff I do like about both of them. But
yeah. All right. We got some comments here. Will Junkin said, I will never again support the place I got my PDL 120 from. Had absolute crap service from them. The only reason still got it because I already paid for it. That's a bummer. Sucks.
I know. I hate that because, the paddle sports industry it's competitive, but it's hard out there. We're not, and I'm not putting their business out there or anything, but we're not above, the struggles of inventory and what to bring in, what not to bring in. But those smaller paddle shops, you're starting to see a lot of them close up, and some of the larger ones, you're seeing some of them even scale back on certain things. So the days of just us, and I say us as, paddle shops, just ordering truckloads and truckloads and just not even worrying about who's going to buy these things. I think that might be changing. And I see that actually driving the market too. You know, you've got to have value, and that's kind of what I meant by the value is, you know, is it desirable? Are people loving it? Is it, you know, not that shiny new toy, you know, that new thing coming out at ICAST? Is it going to be sustainable in the market? Is it going to allow those paddle shops to sell additional product, put motors on it, to rig it up? And you know, those of you that, you know, may live 2 hours or more away from a paddle shop, is it going to be easy for that DIY guy to rig it up themselves? And that's a big thing too.
Yeah. No, I love it. Mark Thomas got a comment here. Love hearing this side of support. Darren, thank you for bringing on the Bearded Paddler to your podcast. Well, thank the Bearded Paddler as well for hopping on. So my happy place fishing says Jackson, his opinion, Jackson kayak customer service has gone downhill the past few years. He said, just his opinion. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. That's totally fine. That's the beauty of this podcast and the beauty of YouTube. You can say whatever you want, right? It's your opinion. It's fine. You can own it. And let me see it. Nellhead. Old Town customer service seems pretty good, thankfully. So you got everyone's got different experiences. Good, bad, and ugly.
That's very kind of caters into what we were talking about there is, you can have one person have a great experience in one part of the country, and that again, that's on that paddle shop, because you know the warranties are pretty straightforward, and so you definitely want to make sure so I'll say this about paddle shops: you need to hold them accountable too. So we need to know what we're talking about when we're relaying this information. We need to know the warranties. We need to know all of this stuff. The company I work for, again, Ozark Mountain Trading Company. On our website, we list all of the warranties from the different manufacturers and what they cover, how long they go, what they cover, what they don't. And we also talk about the weight capacity and how it's figured. So and I worked with them a little bit on that, but they've really kind of taken the bull by the horns on that. So it's ozarkmtc.com. And again, you can go on there. You can, if you're doing research, you know, again, you can look at, you know, my videos are embedded on some of the products there if I've done a video on it. But they talk about, you know, how long is Native's warranty? How long is Old Town's warranty? Hobie, all of that. Because there's a lot of misconceptions out there. You know, Old Town does not have a lifetime warranty. They have a lifetime hull warranty versus, you know, against factory defects. So that's valuable, don't get me wrong. But some people, when they explain it, it may sound like, man, I can buy this kayak and they're always going to take care of me forever. And that's not the case. It's factory defects. So if somebody's got, you know, say they built a kayak on Friday and the guy's getting ready to get fired and maybe he's sniffing some glue that day, he may be missing some parts on the kayak. He may not have put it together right. And that warranty's there. That warranty is there for factory defects. Maybe a mold had some issues. That you're protected on that, but just normal wear and tear, that's not covered.
Yeah, it's on you. So. Interesting. All right. Here, I got a couple more. Here we go. Rocky Top said, I just bought my first fishing kayak at a local shop here in Knoxville, and boy, their customer service was terrible. It's just basic.
I hate to hear that, though.
Yeah, I know, right? Because it's kind of a reflection, unfortunately, of all local shops. And not local. I know you. I've seen your videos. I know that that's not the type of shop that you run. And there's a lot of other great shops out there. However, just, I mean, why so many people having just in this comment section?
Yeah. And
more,
you know,
more than one seems,
and that's another thing in, you know, the people that I work for is they're service oriented too. And they kind of built that company on service. So they don't like people leaving the store, you know, angry or upset. So, you know, cause you're not going to see us advertise on TV. You'll see my dumb face on like YouTube, but you know, it's word of mouth. And one of my favorite things I've ever heard, and it's so true, is if one person has a bad experience, they're going to tell 10 people. If someone has a good experience, they may never say anything. So,
or if someone has a bad experience, they're going to come on the Kayak Fishing Obsessed live show and they're going to tell 3,000 people.
Absolutely. There you go, Larry Hollis.
There you go. OMTC is the best. There we go. 3,000 people.
Tell your friends, tell your grandparents, tell your
kids,
family,
tell your wife, tell everybody. Chad Fox says limited lifetime warranty needs to be clarified for sure.
Yeah.
So interesting. So interesting.
And again, that's on us. So it's on us to represent the stuff that we're selling. It's on us to make sure that we're getting the person in the right kayak, not just the one that we want them to buy.
Right.
And because we don't work on commission, thank God, because that would destroy it.
Conflict of interest. Yeah.
You come in there and you'd have some of us out there out front, like used car salesmen. And, we're just like, hey, someone comes in, they're wanting to look at something around $1,000 and we're showing them a $5,000 Hobie or a $4,500 Old Town. But yeah, there's an art form to it. There's a process and procedure that we go through, but a lot of it's just good information. We don't want to inundate them with useless information that we are just regurgitating, but having them be part of the conversation. What kind of water are you on? What budget do you want to stay within? Do you want sit on top or sit in? Are you rivers, lakes? Are you fishing? Are you recreational floating? There's a lot that goes into that. So when we go to those Facebook groups and someone comes in and says, hey, I'm 6'2", 210 pounds. What's the best kayak? It's just, and then you're going to get 100 comments, or 100's pretty conservative.
Yeah.
Anything from Hobie to Lifetime to Pelican to, and then now you've got more questions and answers there.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, low life. Here's what you can do. You could just, he says, buy a Walmart kayak. Then there will be 0% customer service, no head games. There you go, folks.
You heard it here. That's a way to think about it.
Yeah, just set your bar so freaking low that you just don't expect anything. All right. Let's hop into some of the worst kayaks you've ever seen, in your opinion. Let's do 2 or 3 of them in a row, and let's kind of rip through them and kind of why.
So, there's the obvious out there, and I think everybody kind of know, whether they own them or not, your Lifetimes, even your Pelicans. Pelican makes some okay ones, but for the price that they charge for those ones with the frame seat and the stability and the motor mounts, you can actually get a really good quality roto-molded kayak. But honestly, my big, and I'm just going to get slaughtered for this, is Feel Free. Feel Free has been one of the brands that got really popular during COVID time, where, people are looking online, people are really looking to get on that. And I get to see them when they're used, because we don't sell Feel Free. But we do trade-ins, which is kind of a luxury for me, because I get to see these after they've been moderately used.
Wow. Yeah. All right.
Feel Free's, the wheel and the keel, the kayak is so heavy, it's not stable, it don't handle well, and the components are very cheaply made. I took one out. I did a video on the Feel Free Lure 11.5, which is a very, very popular kayak. And, I did the walkthrough and it did well. I was going to do an on the water video, and I debated on whether to release it or not, because I hated the thing so much. It had that little 8-ball steering that goes right and left.
Okay.
And I've repaired those before. The whole thing's made of plastic. I took one apart one time, and it's plastic gears going against each other. And it's actually greased, which I thought was strange.
Greased plastic gears.
Greased plastic gearing. And I felt like turning it right and left, I felt like I was going to break it. And the pedal drive is extremely, extremely loud. The rudder wasn't as, and I've been blessed to be in some higher quality stuff. So again, I'm talking about brand new, that Feel Free lure with the pedal drive is around $2,200.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you have some nice kayaks, you can get it.
To me, you're not talking about, if it was $1,000, that's different. But $2,200, like a couple $100 more, you can buy the Old Town PDL 106. You can buy, there's some other stuff out there that you can buy that's a lot better quality, and that's one brand.
If you go used, I bought my Bonafide P127 for $2,100 off Facebook Marketplace, used like once. So man, you're in a whole nother, if you have that budget, the used market can get you a nice kayak.
And that's kind of what I meant on that was, so, you can buy them online, you can have them shipped for, there's a lot of different places that do that with Feel Frees, with Vibes and all that. It's not that they're just the worst kayak ever made, but the perception versus the reality is usually very different. To me, and I know I don't mean to jump up the list, but if I'm doing the worst kayak that I've ever seen or ever made,
Here it comes.
Easily, it's Brooklyn Kayak Company.
No, here's the thing. I think it gets marketed like crazy, so people are like, "Ooh, pedal drive." They
That's
marketed
my price point hard during COVID. And when you got people, and I'm on the side of the customers here. So when you're online and you don't really know much about what's out there or what the differences are between a $2,500 kayak and $1,000 kayak or below.
Yeah.
When they're seeing a pedal drive kayak for $1,100 and the thing looks, you got a frame seat, you got a pedal drive. Why would I buy a pedal drive for $2,500 and up when I can get this one for $1,100? So I get it. I do. But the people that got them, I've never heard a good thing about them. And if it's something that somebody got and they thought, well, this isn't what I thought it was going to be, and then they're already looking for their next kayak and they're trying to, they're just, that's all you heard about. And actually, that fisherman, Brian Latimer, a fisherman that I love to watch, he actually was endorsing BKC Kayak, which is Brooklyn Kayak Company. Yeah. And me and Jay with Bearded Dad, I was like, wow. He was like, I don't know that he knows the quality of it.
What's the last time you saw Brian in a fishing kayak in any of his videos?
Exactly. And he got his, I think his first video that he was in a kayak was a Hobie. And I want to say it was a Hobie Outback, which is, in my opinion, their best made kayak. To go from that to be, Brooklyn Kayak, and I'm sure they sent them free kayaks and, hey, try these out, do some videos on it. But man, BKC Kayak by far.
So Chad Fox had a question. Can you elaborate on why they are, in your opinion, so bad? I've heard the pedal drive is horrible.
Yes. Yeah, the pedal drive. It's so the best way I can describe it is nobody is getting rich in the paddle sports industry. There's no ivory towers. There's no palaces. These aren't going to be like insurance company home offices. When you go to Jackson Kayak in Sparta, Tennessee, it's not the fanciest place in the world. When you go to, Native and they're okay, don't get me wrong, but it's big warehouses. They're churning out product. And with these kayaks, there's a reason they're cheap. So comparing it to say Native's Propel Drive, it's a machine grade aluminum.
Yep.
It's metal. It is heavier, but it's metal. And even the internal components are metal.
All metal. Yeah.
I
just got done taking mine apart and
and
last weekend.
If it's all plastic, that's a different story altogether. And
sorry. I just saw a comment in the sorry, got me laughing. Chad Hoover said, the belt drive is like a little pony,
it's components. The components are a lot, or where it's just terrible. And to make it worse, you can't get parts. So say you have a part of that drive that's broken, what then? That's literally like taking $1,100 and just lighting it on fire.
Yeah. Cooler Lit AP 120 says the drive, it's a belt driven kayak. It's not serviceable at all, and the seats are cheap. Cooler Lid, sounds like you accidentally bought one of these or have seen one, got your hands on. You get these things turned in all the time as trade-ins?
Oh, the BKC?
Yeah.
No, I've seen one of them. And honestly, this time, the way the market is right now, I can't say that I would even, I don't know that I would even offer, just because it would be so low that it wouldn't be worth it. And to me, I mean, if you're talking about a kayak that was $1,100 brand new, and you go in there and we might, be able to give you $100 for it.
Give you $100.
I think every kayak that can float is worth $100. But if you're talking about something like that, like I would just say, it's not in our wheelhouse, or I'll just say it's hard for us to get, to sell that stuff, which it is. And we also can't service it. So
the service piece is huge. I was in the shop with him Memorial Day weekend, and we lost count of how many people were in the shop looking to buy replacement parts that we didn't have because they bought them at the big box stores and, hey, I don't have my seat, or the strap broke, or this happened. And we're sitting there going, there's nothing we can do about that.
Yeah. I hate that, because, you know, it's not their fault.
Sure.
But, you know, you
got to do your due diligence when you buy something.
Yeah. Yeah. But, you know, that's kind of what got me started, honestly, because what we would do.
The comment section, folks.
Good Lord.
Attention over here.
I like Chad's comment there.
Man,
I'll get a Tannerite edition.
He's coming in off the top.
Coming in hot.
I'm just imagine Chad just sitting on the couch with a drink, just hammering away at these comments. But
I'm not even saying half of them. He's just ripping over here.
But he's not wrong. You know, it's just they're so. I always take it as it's kayaks were flying off the shelves during COVID. It was like unlike anything. And I've been in sales for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I've never seen anything or been a part of anything like that. It didn't matter. Just there were people getting brand new prices for used kayaks. We were giving unbelievable prices for trade-ins. Like, it was just the Wild West.
Stupid.
And I take a lot of these pop-up companies kind of, you know, came forward and, you know, they found a way to make a quick buck. And that's kind of what I think happened to that.
Sure. I had Chad on. He called them Alibaba kayaks.
Yeah, but that's the best. That is the best name for it. I got Gramps.
Yes, please. Yes, please comment.
And you know, when I first started, I'm talking to all these people that did. They say, "Hey, I watched this on YouTube," and the information they got was just not right, or just downright terrible. And then, you know, I'm like, okay, well, shoot, I can do this. And that's kind of what got me started in on it. But
yeah, guys, we're humming in at we're at 91 people live right now. It's on fire. Thanks so much. If you have not done so, hit that like button. Help us get a little more yardage on this. Let's go back to, we're kind of going back and forth. You hit a couple of the worst kayaks out there. Let's bring it back to some of the, we talked about New Canoe. What's like 2, 3, 4?
To New Canoe, I wouldn't put them at the best. I would put New Canoe at 2.
Okay.
And the only reason I've got them at 2 is, and again, I'm not, and I get accused of this a lot on my videos, but I'm not sponsored by anybody. I'm not, you know, I got a battery company that gives me a little bit, but
you need my shirt, not sponsored shirt.
Yeah. But to me, and I call them big adventures, because Big Adventure is native and bona fide put together. And I'm not saying they're the perfect kayak for everybody, but what they're doing right now and the innovation that they're bringing, I think, is changing the market. And, you know, the bona fide PWR, which is what I'm in this year, has been by far my favorite kayak from a value standpoint and a performance standpoint. You know, and I'm talking about a foot-controlled rudder from the factory. I'm talking about motorized ability in the front and the back, good battery storage, a great seat that goes high and low. It's laid out perfectly. There's no wasted space in there. And last year they did the RVR. So we're in river country here. The RVR is by far, you know, we own one. We've got one sitting in the garage. That's her kayak. You know, we go on rivers and creeks a lot. We do a lot of fishing, and that thing, the way it's laid out, and comparing it, you know, we did a video, me and her, I think it was actually her first video with me, the RVR versus the Crescent Shoaly. And, you know, there were things I liked about the Crescent Shoaly, but by far, I felt like the better value was with the RVR, because they're both about the same price, but one of them is a little bit minimalist design and performance based. The other one is just, you can go, the ceiling is so high on it, you can motorize it, you can keep it bare bones, you can anchor it. You got a lot of products that are built for it. And I'm excited to see what they do in just the next coming years, because they don't appear to me to be taking it easy. And I think a lot of companies have done that just in the last couple of years around COVID is, you know, they change some color schemes and they add some fishing tackle or fishing gear to something, and then they call it a different model, or they take an older hull design, give it another name, and you can't really do that anymore because people are saying, okay,
yeah, the roast you on it.
What now? What now? What new are you coming out with? And it's they're still pushing the envelope, and I wouldn't say to me. Unpopular opinion, to me, Hobie is still, they're still the top as far as pedal drive kayaks go, but just in the last 2 years, that gap is really starting to close.
People are running to the comments right now. They're running.
My opinion's always been the industry needs Hobie to do well.
Okay.
Because Hobie has really kind of, they've had the Pro Angler out for years. And to me, the Pro Angler, when it came out, was just, that was like just magic. And now everybody's got a really good, high quality lake tournament ready fishing kayak setup.
Yep.
Now they're kind of, I know I am. I'm kind of looking around with Hobie and wondering, like, okay, like, what are you guys going to do? To me,
even put all their small shops out of business.
Yeah, even if you're not coming out with something new, if I was them, I'd still want to be at ICAST, even if I'm putting Hobies in there for other people to do rigging. If you're, there's a lot of stuff that they could have done. And then again, the whole Bass Pro thing, that's public. That is out there. You can go to their website right now and see that stuff. And I just wonder who is running the show, who is pulling the strings at Hobie right now. And, again, they have moved to Mexico. When you go on Bass Pro's website and you look at their Hobie kayaks, it says made in the USA. It says no. So, at least they're upfront with that. But it's, public perception and just decisions they're making kind of makes me concerned with them for sure.
And that comes from people that actually, we have a Hobie sitting in our garage. But the other thing is, like, he talks about the Bonafide, and the reality is the majority of our money and our money that we're spending, not getting kayaks for free, but the money that we're spending is in Bonafides in the last year.
Oh, okay. So your company's investing in Bonafide. Yeah, should signal to people where the innovation is going to be coming from.
We were told by, some of our people went out there and they toured the facility there in North Carolina. And we were told that we are now the biggest big adventure dealer. Whether that's true or not, I don't focus on that stuff. I just try to do the best I can with my location. But man, I don't even think we have RVRs. We've sold truckloads of them things. The Skiff, which they came out with at ICAST, that has done really well. The Titan X's, the Titan X slows down past a certain point of the year because I always tell people with fishing kayaks, at least, the year in kayak industry is broken down into parts. You got the rigging season where people are buying their tournament rigs for the next year. They're rigging them up. They're getting the motors, the batteries, the wiring, everything. Then you're in the meat, maybe some people that waiting on that tax return to roll in to kind of get that next step up. We're fully in the downward slide of this season, looking forward to next year.
Okay.
But, middle of summer, it's rec season here, recreation, so your fishing kayaks have a tendency to slow down a little bit past a certain time of the year, which is great because now with ICAST coming, that the way it's timed, to me, it really amps up the excitement again, because now people are going to start calling, hey, that new kayak I saw at ICAST, when are you guys getting those in? Can I put in my order now? That's coming, I hope. It was with the Titan X, and then Bonafide came out of nowhere with the PWR. I didn't know anything about that. I saw it on their website. That's how I found out about it. But
they didn't. You guys are one of the #1 dealers. They
now that doesn't mean that the owners may not have known about it, but me here in Cotter, Arkansas, I was like, oh wow, because I just got done doing the video where I'm comparing the SS127 from Bonafide to the New Canoe Unlimited. And I was talking about the pros and cons and out of the box, which one gives you the better value. which one has the higher ceiling. And then literally 2 weeks after that, the PWR came out. I'm like, wow, okay, that literally answers a lot of the questions that we had about the SS127. But you know, I'm thinking, okay, so they know what's going on.
We just hit over a moment ago 100 people live. I always love it when you hit those little milestones. All right.
I wish people liked watching me on my own channel.
Now, to be fair,
hey,
you're bringing over those people too, right?
It.
You're going, you're connecting to your sides. It's not all kayak fishing obsessed. So,
oh yeah.
All right. So, Chad made a comment, and I saw it there. I think it was him, when he said, "Okay, let's lump all of these Alibaba boats together. Now let's talk about some name brand kayaks that suck."
Yeah,
I thought that was like, you know what, solid. So, what do you got for us there?
As far as best or worst?
Worst. We just talked about best.
Oh, man.
Name brand.
I know you want to say it. You're biting your tongue because you feel like you're getting in trouble.
So this is a company that I'm a very big fan of, but I'm just not. They need to do something, and I'm talking about
this is a compliment sandwich, folks. Here we go.
Yeah. I'm about to serve up a turd sandwich wrapped in lettuce and tomato here. Jackson Kayak, to me, has really hurt themselves in the last couple of years with both their misses and what they've eliminated some kayaks that I thought was really, really quality kayaks.
Okay.
And, to me, I own Jackson. I've owned other Jacksons. Christina here's owned Jackson, and we love some of their models, but the amount of pedal drive kayaks that they have, and I'm talking about like heavy pedal drive kayaks, and the value. Here we go with the value again. So the price that they are. So just take the Coosa FD, which I did a video on here last week. The Coosa FD is $3,650 retail. And we're talking about $37.99. You can get the Hobie Outback. So to me, the Hobie Outback is the best all-around pedal fishing kayak. But we're talking about a kayak that's got a lot more features on it than that Coosa FD. The Coosa FD weighs more. And I love the Mark IV pedal drive that Jackson upgraded to starting, I believe, last year. They went to a belt-driven, internally lubricated system. Way less issues than the gear drive, but man, and Chad alluded to it there. The Jackson NAR. What we got?
Wait a second.
Oh,
I got to remove my branding here. There we go.
Oh, you got naughty words up there on the screen there. Not an Eco fan.
Not an Eco. Someone was ripping on Eco a minute ago. It just happened to be.
Yeah, I'm not an Eco fan.
Terrible. Someone just said terrible customer service from Eco.
Shipping kayaks. This to me, Austin Kayak tried this model too, and shipping kayaks country, all over the country, and it's kind of fool's gold there, but. More power to them. I mean, they're selling kayaks, but
let's touch on it real fast. Not Eco. Let's touch on like what usually happens. Like you're like, hey, shipping kayaks. I would imagine what happens when you try to ship a bunch of kayaks on a pallet or whatnot. But I see people getting them, and they're all wrapped up, and you always get the photo, and they're doing the unboxing. So what to expect? Should you go to a shop, or can you order one of these? You can literally order kayaks on Amazon, like Old Towns. So.
You can, you can do it from Old Town. You can do it from, obviously Eco here. I'm not a fan of it. So there's reasons for that. And I've kind of alluded to that before where, there's some manufacturers that are doing direct to customer sales. And oddly enough, I had Perception reach out to me early. It's either late, I think it was late last year, and asking me if I wanted to do affiliate marketing for them. I'm like, I work for a paddle shop that sells your product. What are you doing? And they say, well, yeah, but we're Confluence, which Confluence is basically the company that Pelican bought,
right.
Wilderness, Perception, all that. But I was trying to tell this guy, like, you're asking me to sell your product that we already sell at where I work at. I said, you don't see a conflict there? Like, I'm not going to do this. And they're basically trying to eliminate the middleman and ship direct. And of course, you see them at big box stores and all that.
Right.
Basically, it's a long way of saying that direct to customer sounds great, but you're not getting deals by doing that. You're actually paying MSRP 9 times out of 10, as to where your local paddle shops can a lot of times do better than that and give you that service you need, because you still got to have service. You still got to get parts. You still got to get advice on accessories and rigging, unless you just want to rely on us YouTubers to do that, which, hey, I try to give advice, but advice is very individual. And when you get them, you get this plastic bag with a kayak, and it's basically a moving company. It's like, here you go, sign here, and then we're gone. Never
know what you're going to get.
I've seen pictures of kayaks with holes in them from the forklift.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't matter how much you mark a package, no forklift. You could wrap it in tape that says that. Someone's still going to just drive a forklift through it.
Yeah.
And scuffs, parts that are loose from them being in the back of a truck with other stuff. And people are getting mad at the manufacturers, and it has nothing to do with them. It has nothing to do with Jackson or Hobie or Native or Bonafide. It's got everything to do with how you bought that kayak. I understand that not everybody lives in a town that's got a paddle shop, but sometimes it's worth a couple of hours to drive, make a road trip out of it, have a good time with it. Contact these people and make sure these are people that you want to deal with, obviously. But if they got it in stock and you're able to demo and get hands-on, that's that experience that I think that we're in danger of losing, as a lot of this industry is really pushing these mom and pop places out of the way. And the company I work for, they're a large inventory. We're a specialty store. We only deal in kayaks and kayaks accessories, but it doesn't benefit us at all for all these other paddle shops to close down. It's not like they're all convening in on North Arkansas here and buying kayaks here.
Right.
It's making it harder and harder. And the manufacturers, this is just my opinion, but the manufacturers are making it harder on themselves by doing this, because the less satellite stores that you have pushing your product, the worse it is. And these manufacturers are not able to do the warranty and the service, because they're fielding all these calls. They're not calling the store that they didn't buy it from typically. And, it's just, I hope that changes. I really do. But
I'm just going to point something out.
Please do.
Darren went and found a different picture that's not eco fishing.
My dude.
I did. For you. This is a Microsoft Bing. Bing. I don't know how Bing got on.
So yeah,
right.
I mean,
so tell me why don't you like this Coosa FD?
Oh, I love the Coosa FD, but I think it's
the value.
In my opinion, the last couple of years, I think Jackson Kayak has really priced themselves out of their intended market. And the Coosa is one of their best-selling river fishing kayaks out there. And in my opinion, the Bite FD, the Bite pedal drive, is actually more geared toward rivers and creeks. The Coosa FD, according to Jackson's website, is actually geared more toward calm flat water. So it's confusing marketing there. And honestly, I would love to see them do a lighter throw-and-go kayak. I know why they don't bring back the Coosa, because that's Drew Gregory's design. He's with Crescent Kayak. He does the Sholey now. But Jackson can still make, they pioneered the river fishing industry with the Coosa. And there's things that can be improved on that design, not throwing plastic at it and making it heavier and bigger and wider. And honestly, that's what people are buying, though. People want stability over everything. And so you're seeing that. You're seeing these companies build these bigger, wider, heavier, it's kind of like, the Hummers and the Ford Excursions of the kayak industry. But you need some variety. You need some lighter throw and go. You need,
Yeah. So outside of Alibaba grouping, outside of Jackson, what are some other kayaks out there? Like, oh man, they've started going downhill over the years. And is there a specific kayak? Company might be great, but they missed the mark on one particular kayak, in your opinion?
Oh, the Jackson Nar. I know. We're talking about
get Gramps all riled up,
dude. Yeah, and I could just feel his blood pressure rise in there. And I actually, I was fairly new, and I was, the NAR was just coming out, and that's actually how I found Fishing with Gramps. Was I was doing research on public perception of the Jackson NAR, and I'm like, man, this, because I went in it, and I saw Chad's video when he's demoing it, and it was fast. It's a very fast kayak, and that's one thing I think that they didn't focus on enough when they're marketing it. That's very fast. And the problem is there were some plastics issues there. The weight capacity was not what they originally intended it on being, and the weight capacity took a big step backwards, because you're talking about a kayak that's got about a 25-pound more capacity than their best-selling recreational kayak in the Bite.
Real quick, you hummed over two things. So when you have plastic issues, what can the consumer be on the lookout for? And two, how do you get in trouble with your weight capacity? Because it sounded like it waffled.
Yeah, they originally thought it was higher, and then
what do you mean you thought? You designed it? When I'm confused. You don't think these things. I don't know who is designing and testing these things out, but and again, I'm very, or I consider myself good friends with Jameson Redding. He was part of Jackson, and he was part of the team that built that. And, you got the prototypes that they're testing out, but when things change down the road, that's kind of out of their hands, and the manufacturing process is a big deal. So it's tough to say with Jackson, because again, I love the people at Jackson. I think, contrary to one of the previous comments there, Jackson customer service, in my experience on a day-to-day basis, has been one of the best. Okay.
I've got people I can call and email at Jackson. They take care of things immediately. And, they can make some tweaks at Jackson, and they're right back in it. Yeah. But they've got to make those changes. And I'm coming at it from a point of view that I want to see them make those changes. But because Jackson's a very big brand where we live here. They're made over in Tennessee. We're here in Arkansas. Yep. People see them as kind of a local brand. It's almost like Ford and Chevy around here with Jackson and now Bonafide. But Jackson's they've got to improve on some things. And I think they know that. They were kind of started as a whitewater company, and they kind of hit some home runs with a couple of fishing kayaks. And I feel like they've kind of backed off of that a little bit. I don't know.
Okay. Here's a question from the audience listening in. True Grit Outdoors. Question: what's the best affordable kayak for a starter? He says pedals, please. All right, there we go. Intro. What's the lowest value, I don't know, budget that you would ever put your name to?
So I always tell people, start with perception as a minimum. And, the way a kayak is made is always going to dictate on how durable it's going to be. I mean, to me, perception makes one of the best values in stability in the Perception Outlaw. But the Perception Outlaw has kind of gone up in price the last few years. It used to be $750 just a couple of years ago. Now it's $920. So at what point do these kayaks stop being what I call a great value and start being a little bit, because when you go up a few $100s in that $1,000 price range, you're competing against completely different kayaks now. So to me, I know we just got done talking about Jackson. The Jackson Bite at $9.99 is one of the best values because it performs better paddling wise than the Outlaw does. Okay. The seat is comfortable. The seat is removable. It's a wide open deck space. That's the one knock I would have on the Perception Outlaw, is that it's very sluggish in the water. I mean, very sluggish in the water. If you're looking at fishing kayaks too, same way with Perception, the Pescador Pro is one of my favorites. It's not the best tall person kayak, but it's the same seat as the Outlaw. It's more of a river friendly, a better paddle friendly kayak. And I'm a big fan of 12-foot kayaks as far as paddling goes.
Okay.
Liquid Logic just came out with a kayak last year called the Kiowa, Kiawah. They sell a 10.5 and a 12-foot kayak. That's one of the best paddling kayaks I've ever been in. And it's very lightweight. The 10.5 only weighs 57 pounds. And Chad said the Bonafide RS-117 at 1,050, I believe.
Yeah.
A high-low frame seat, not the worst paddling kayak in the world. It's rigged up. You got flush-mounted rod holders installed on it. And it's something that when I look at best starter kayaks, I look at something that someone is going to be in for a while, not that they're going to grow out of. So sometimes, I know
sorry, for those of you listening again, this is hilarious.
I know my opinion differs on this, but I'm kind of.
Well, for those listening in the podcast, I'm putting up comments as he's speaking, and so he's Andy's getting a little distracted.
I think I'm disagreeing. I'm kidding. But yeah, I always tell people, I know there was a push to get, you want to get people in kayaks as quickly as possible, but sometimes just adding $100 or $150 to the budget can get you in a completely different class of kayak. But also shopping the used market. Your used kayaks are kayaks that there's probably been around for a long period of time, and there's a ton of information out there on. And I mean, they're plastic boats, so like you can pretty much tell within reason if there's something going on with it. There's been repairs or plastic melted on it, or if it's really bad sun faded. And you can just look around on Facebook Marketplace and get kind of a going price.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, I've actually done a video on this, so buying a used fishing kayak, what to do, what to look for. So if you're getting ready to buy a used fishing kayak, watch that video, then you'll know what to look out for and why to look out for it and what it really means. So check that out. We're still cruising at 100 live right now. 101. There we go. This is awesome. All right, I got a question for you. I know, right? So we got people listening in and fishing. Here, I just saw a comment. What did he say? Where's that at? He said, just got off the water, bass ackwards 13, caught one dink. That's not what you want to hear. Dude, July fishing can be tough, man.
Dinks are fish too, though.
That's true. Then we need a shirt that says dinks are fish too. Here's a question.
That's a shirt.
It is. It'll come out. You know what will happen now on Facebook that I said out loud? My phone just picked it up and I'll get like 1,000.
Yeah.
Companies.
You're going to get the Etsy ads that,
say what I just said. Here's a question for you.
Ads already.
Would you agree with this statement coming from Cotton Candy Kayak? Like to see that kayak. Buy your second kayak first.
I've said that. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't copyright that by any means, but yeah, absolutely. Now, granted, there's what I would say to that though is you got to kind of look through your own crystal ball, so to speak. Is nobody knows what you're going to be, what your needs and wants are going to be. And this can prevent you from having to buy, like me and her have done, 6 kayaks over the last 2 years. But do you see yourself maybe going to a motor or maybe doing some sonar, not necessarily forward facing sonar, but maybe you want to do that, or you want to maybe do a pedal drive kayak. So that's definitely something to look at, but not everybody needs the top of the line. Not everybody needs the $5,000, the $4,000 kayak. But if you're going to use all of the features on those kayaks, those can be a very good value to you. So typically the people, when you show them, a Hobie or a native pedal drive that's $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, people say, why don't you just buy a boat? Well, a $5,000 kayak and a $5,000 boat, those are two completely different things. So, I'm seeing used boats on sale in Marketplace, and I'm talking about basic stuff for 20 grand.
Right.
But I'm also seeing kayaks for sale for 10, 12,000 because somebody went out and they put every single thing that they can possibly put on it, and it's never been in the water. I always tell people, get on the water with your kayak and then start to get a feeling process of what you want, because you can go crazy. You were excited. You just bought the kayak. You want to get the trailers. You want to get the motors, the batteries. I'm sure You've already bought the shirt with the logos on it. You're ready to fish. And
yeah,
I mean, it's just, it's natural because there's so much content out there of people enjoying themselves, and they see Christine Fisher, with the two. I always kind of credit her with the trend of the two monitors,
double graph,
because she was the first ones that I really saw do it, and they're rigging her out those, and she's got the two graphs. I guess she uses one for mapping, one for the live scope, and it looks awesome. And then I think Gene Jensen shared that meme where it's just a kayak and it's got like 8 different monitors. But I mean, that's how it happens, though. There's always somebody that wants more, or you want that larger TV, or you want that larger that larger rig. So that's kind of where
I'm gonna throw in here one of the mistakes we made. Huge mistake was he didn't tell me he wanted to fish, and so we went recreational. And so then we had to go from recreational to fishing, and then we went from fishing to more needs. And so it's kind of like you really need to think about, even at that level, are you recreational or are you fishing? And can you see yourself getting into more fishing features? Because that was our biggest mistake.
I always giggle when someone comes into the store and says, well, I just want to fish maybe a little bit every now and then, but mostly rec. Like, I was like, I tell them, like, you're talking about, like, you get into a kayak and you can I found myself being able to access parts of the water that I was never able to get to.
Right.
And the freedom to carry a fishing rod with you and do this. And it was amazing. And my first kayak was a Wilderness Systems Ride 115, which is still one of my favorite kayaks. It was like the Wilderness Systems tarpon, but a heavy duty tarpon, 500-pound capacity. You got, you could have your tackle in the back, and a pretty comfortable seat. You got hatch storage in the middle and the front. And yeah, I found myself like seeing all these other kayaks with the really high seating positions, and saw that new canoe with the swivel seat. And I called her up. I'm like, babe, like, I think I'm about to buy a kayak. And then I sold it that day. And I told her, I was like, well, it's probably best, because I was ready. I was like already thinking about where we're going to put that in the garage. And
it was a month later. He brought it home, so it didn't matter.
Our garage is an absolute mess.
It's so funny. Yeah, the comments I get on YouTube about how rigged out my personal kayak is, and it's not even like rigged out like some of them are. I understand that. It's just interesting where people are in the journey, right? Some people just like simple kayak, one rod, one reel. And I was like, okay. Yeah, and if that's you, that's great. For me, it's like, okay, if I'm fishing for money, which I am now, I'm going to come prepared, right? I'm not going to come to the party and the show and not have what I need in that moment. And so, yeah, I'm not out there. I think Gramps said something here that's like, he's like, I tell people I'm not kayaking. I'm fishing, right? I don't want to. Why do you carry 6 rods? It's like, because I can't carry 10 right now. So I figure it out.
Hey guys, hope you like that. I referenced the Bonafide P127 in that video. If you want to see the review of it, check it out right there. Thanks for watching. See ya.